Ted Mosby is a liar. And I don't mean, oh, he embellishes a story or his memory plays tricks on him. No. I mean, this man literally held his kids hostage for 9 seasons, 208 episodes, for one single goal. And that goal? It wasn't telling them about their mom. Their mom, Tracy, in his own story about how he met her, shows up somewhere near the very end. She's basically a guest star in somebody else's show. And that show, it's about Robin. Everyone says the finale of How I Met Your Mother is a betrayal, that the writers blew it. Killed off the mother, split up Barney and Robin, dragged Ted back to his season 1 crush. Tons of people still watch the alternate ending and pretend the real one doesn't exist. I did that for years. Until I rewatched the pilot and the finale back-to-back and saw that Ted literally steals a blue French horn in the first episode, and he steals the same one in the last scene of the show. Same move, same guy, same object he's chasing, 9 years between them, a wife, 2 kids, a funeral. And nothing changed. And that's when it hit me. This isn't a bad finale. This is the finale the whole thing was built for. We just got sold one show for 9 years and shown a completely different one. Let's be real here. When a dad sits his 2 teenage kids down and says, "Kids, let me tell you how I met your mother," how much of that story should be about the mother? Logically, most of it. Half at minimum. A third, fine. Ted's mother physically shows up in the last few episodes of season 9. Before that, a boot under a table, a yellow umbrella, a silhouette with a guitar. That's it. For 200 plus episodes, he's telling his kids about hooking up with their Aunt Robin, about their Aunt Robin breaking his heart, about their Aunt Robin marrying his best friend, about Aunt Robin, Aunt Robin, Aunt Robin. And then like 30 seconds of, "And then I met your mom, she was awesome, we had you guys, she died, so anyway, back to Robin. Hey, Raymond Mosby here." And I genuinely can't believe this fandom has been arguing for 10 years about whether the finale is good or bad, when the real question is something else entirely. The real question is, why is this man actually telling this story? Because what he's saying and what he's doing are 2 completely different things. Check this out. Ted, in his own story, is constantly editing reality. He swaps weed for sandwiches. He swaps cursing for the word Grinch. He cuts out entire stretches where the whole gang was smoking like chimneys, and only in one episode does he cop to it with a quick, "Okay, we were smoking." He forgets the name of a girl he dated and just calls her blah blah. He can't remember what year the goat was in the apartment. He tells his kids about Robin finding out she can't have kids even though he wasn't there. Robin didn't tell him for months, and Barney knew before he did. He's literally writing her inner monologue and handing it to his kids as fact. A guy who swapped drugs for sandwiches so his kids don't find out he smoked weed. You really think he's being honest about how he treated Robin? Or Barney? Or himself? At one point, the writers give us that episode, The Ashtray, where the same event, a party at an art gallery, gets retold from 3 different points of view. And all 3 versions are different. In Ted's version, he remembers himself as smart and cool. In Robin's version, every guy wants her. In Lily's, nobody notices her at all. That's not just a funny episode, that's the user manual for watching the whole show. The writers are straight up telling you, dude, memory isn't a camera. Memory is however you want to remember it. And once you accept that Ted is an unreliable narrator who tweaks reality to fit his needs, everything clicks into place. All of it. Take Barney. Barney Stinson is one of the most beloved sitcom characters ever. But rewind and look at how we're shown him. Through whose lens? Through Ted. Always through Ted. And this Ted talking about his best friend paints the guy as a sociopath. The playbook. 230 women. The suits. All that charming monstrousness. Ted literally dedicates episode after episode to how awful Barney is, how immoral he is, how he uses women. It's played for laughs, but think about it, why is a dad telling his teenage kids all this? Why is he going into this much detail about what a bad husband his best friend is? Because in the story, Barney married Robin, and then divorced her. And Ted, narrator Ted, the one sitting on the couch in 2030 in front of his kids, he desperately needs his kids to think, wow, what a jerk this Barney guy is. Good thing Aunt Robin left him, she deserves better. Like, who better? Oh, I don't know, maybe the guy telling you this story right now, it's called building a legal defense. Ted is making a case. He's a lawyer. And we all watched this thinking it was a rom-com. And now the main thing. This is where it really got me when I put it together. The scene with Penny and Luke at the very end. When Ted finishes his 9-year saga, and his daughter looks at him and says, "Dad, Mom is barely in this story. This is a story about how you're still in love with Aunt Robin and you want to ask her out and you need our permission." Ted brushes it off at first. No, No, I was just telling a structured metaphor. But 2 minutes later, he's standing under Robin's window holding a French horn. That scene with the kids on the couch was filmed in 2006, season 2. The writers shot the finale 8 years before it aired because they were scared the actors would grow up and stop looking like themselves. So Bays and Thomas knew from the very start, literally from the beginning, how this ended. They knew Tracy would die. They knew Ted would go back to Robin. They knew the whole story was a pretext. Every scene they wrote for those 8 years was written on top of that already filmed ending. Every episode where Ted says, "I'm over Robin." Every scene where Barney seems redeemed. Every moment where Tracy is perfect, magical, the one. All of it written by people who already had the finale locked in a vault, the one where a teenager tells her dad, "Dad, you just want to sleep with Aunt Robin again, and we're cool with it." That changes everything. This isn't a show where the finale came out bad. This is a show that knew where it was going from frame 1 and spent 9 years hiding it in plain sight. Look at the symbols they plant from day 1. The yellow umbrella, that's Tracy, fate. Something you find when the universe decides. You're just walking down the street, it starts raining, someone left an umbrella, you pick it up, passive. You got lucky. And the blue French horn, that's Robin. You don't find a French horn, you steal one. Off a restaurant wall, breaking in, committing a crime. That's an active choice, that's effort, that's I'm taking this because I decided this is what I want. In the pilot, Ted steals the horn for Robin, first date. In the finale, more than 20 years later, widowed, 2 kids, he steals the exact same horn and brings it to Robin again. The yellow umbrella opened, stayed in his life for a while, and closed. Tracy came and went. But the horn, same obsession, same guy basically. And when I saw that, I realized the show had been using me the same way Ted used his kids. We got strung along for 9 seasons. We were sold a story about fate, about yellow umbrellas, about the universe bringing the right people together. And really, we were being told a story about a guy who lost his wife, can't let go of his ex, and figured out how to get his kid's blessing to go back to her, and the kids give him that blessing in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. After a 9-year story. They tell him, "Dad, just go for it, call Aunt Robin." And he, without a second of hesitation, drops everything and drives to her place. No grief, no memory of mom, no, hold on kids, let me think about this. He's been waiting for this moment the entire series. He told this whole story for this moment. There's one more detail that really seals it. There was a deleted scene from the finale cut before it aired, but the writers and cast confirmed it. In it, Ted and Robin meet for lunch after Tracy has died. And Robin in that scene hints pretty clearly she regrets they're not together. She thinks about how things could have gone. So by the time Ted sits his kids down on the couch, he already knows. He's already had that conversation. Robin has already opened the door. But that scene doesn't make it into the story he tells the kids. Why? Because if the kids knew that Aunt Robin is basically already waiting, the whole moral framing falls apart. The kids have to think it's their idea. That they, smart and observant teenagers, were the first to notice Dad still loves Aunt Robin, that the permission is coming from them. Ted doesn't want to look like a guy who walked in with a plan. He wants to look like a guy whose kids gave him the idea. That's lawyer-level manipulation. A lawyer who already knows the verdict he needs and just walks the jury to it. So I'm sitting there rewatching the French horn scene in the finale, and I don't feel like it's romantic. I used to. I remember watching it in 2014 and thinking, yes, the circle is closed, true love wins. Now I watch it and I see a 50-year-old widower standing under a woman's window holding a stolen prop, and he staged this scene for himself, with a story that took 9 years to tell. Tracy in this story isn't the hero. Tracy is the alibi. Her existence was what Ted needed to build himself moral armor. See kids, I loved your mom. I was a good husband. I grieved. I did everything right. And now that she's gone and I'm free, can I please go back to the one I actually wanted all along? This isn't a love story about Tracy. This is an alibi. It's a legal brief in the shape of a sitcom. And honestly, I'm not sad about it. I actually think it's fascinating, because most shows lie to the audience and never admit it. How I Met Your Mother lies to the audience and leaves all the evidence right on the table. The unreliable narrator, the episode with 3 versions of one party, the pre-filmed finale, the blue horn in the pilot, and the finale. The daughter who literally says the thesis of the show out loud in the last scene. It's all right there, for 10 years. Most viewers just watch what they want to see, not what they're being shown. Just like Ted. So the show isn't about how Ted met their mom. The show is about a guy telling himself the story of his life in a way that lets him not feel guilty about what he's about to do next. And honestly, that's the most human thing any sitcom has ever done. Everyone does this. Everyone edits their past to justify their future. Ted just does it out loud, on camera, for 9 seasons, with a laugh track behind him. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The pilot looks like a confession. The finale looks like a verdict. Every scene with Barney looks like a setup. Every Tracy episode looks like the opening act before the main event. The yellow umbrella stops being a symbol and starts being a prop. Ted Mosby isn't a dad telling a story. Ted Mosby is a defendant who's also his own prosecutor, his own lawyer, and he handpicked the jury 2 teenagers who love him and will say yes to anything if it means dad gets to be happy again. And he won his case. He got what he wanted. He got Robin. And the rest of us? We got 9 years of watching a closed courtroom and being told it was a comedy about friends.